Hi YouTube, it's PB. So you've either come here independently or you've watched the first part of the video and now you're on the second part. If you didn't watch the first one, this is just a basic combi installation, like for like swap, and I've videoed the install, not showing you how to install the boiler, but just showing you things I think you'll find interesting. The main thing is I was using a press tool for the first time and press fittings. So in part one it's the installation of the boiler and the press fittings, and then this half of the video is Magnacleanse system flush and a bit of use of the FLIR Pro 1 thermal imaging camera, and just showing you what it does, how to use it, kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully you will enjoy it. Okay, so the next thing we've got to do is do a system flush. Now the landlord didn't want to pay for a power flush, didn't need one either, because all the radiators do get nice and hot, there's no cold spots. So we don't need to go to the extreme of doing a power flush. We're just going to use the Magnacleanse here to do a system flush. So if you've never seen one of these before, this is your Magnacleanse unit. It comes in a tub. And this is what it looks like. So it's basically, I mean this is a micro, but a Pro 2 would be about this big. I would say it's the equivalent of 4 Pro 2s. And it's sort of a one hit flush. If it's on the return, any water that goes through your heating system will go through these two magnets and the stuff will collect on these magnets. It is only a magnetic filter, there's no non-magnetic filter in here. So that would be the main downside. Nothing really collects in it, there's no reservoir to collect any crap. It's just what sticks to the magnets, but it still is really good. When you see the results, when you've done a Magnacleanse and you show the customer when you take these magnets out, it's a really good thing. So the way this works, we're going to isolate the two valves on the Magnaclean, take this out, and then we have an adapter that fits onto the connections, and then we can run two hoses to our Magnacleanse, which I'm going to set up now. Okay, so took the Magnaclean off, and we can see there, these are the connections we're going to now attach the Magnacleanse to. And the way we do that is with this adapter. Now this will suit a range of different filters. The old style Magnaclean, the first one, will tighten straight onto these connections here. These are push fit, so we put this adapter on like so. This is just the speed fit adapter, and that will push onto there, and you can alter the distance to suit whether you've got a mini, micro or a pro. It also works, you get adapters for the 28mm version, you get adapters for the Worcester Bosch filter, you can get adapters for all different kinds of filters to run your Magnacleanse off. So I'm just going to pop this on. Okay, so that just pushes on, that's the adapter fitted. Then you get these flexible hoses. Now, I've had my Magnacleanse for at least 5 years. My hoses, you cannot see through them anymore because it's had so much use. When you buy a new one, these are crystal clear. So when you first put the boiler on, especially on a badly sludged system, one of these hoses turns black, and it's really satisfying. So you won't see it on the one I'm using today, but basically cam lock fittings. So you just push it on like that, pull these two down, and that's it, that's locked in place. Same with this one. So that's our two hoses on, and then we just fit these onto the bottom of your Magnacleanse. I'm going to set this up now in its tray on the floor. So yeah, just look inside. Two big magnets into these reservoirs, and basically 4 times the size of a normal Pro 2. And as with a Pro 2, you can dose the chemical in, so we'll add our MC3 cleaner into here before we set up, and that will get the cleaner into the system while we're running the Magnacleanse. Okay, so this is the Magnacleanse. We've got the hoses attached. the valves are open, so now what we need to do, probably should use the tool provided, but I've already lost it. So open these two valves. That's now made the circuit, and the Magnacleanse is part of the system. So the first thing we need to do is fill them up, vent them and get the air out. That's just a bit loose because it is so old. So as we're on a sealed system, we can see there the pressure's gone down, so we just need to add a bit of pressure in. Okay, so they're full. Stop, keep an eye on the pressure. Stop that right in the middle. Okay, so pressure's topped up. Magnacleanse is connected. So now that's part of our heating circuit. When we turn the heating on now, all the water is going to go through these two magnets before it gets back to the boiler, and we're going to go around and flush each individual radiator. So the next bit of kit I'm going to show you on this job is a FLIR 1 Pro. This is a thermal imaging camera, and the one I've got plugs into my iPhone. So that's the unit there, and then you just get your phone and it pops into the bottom of your phone, the charge point, and that changes your camera into a thermal imaging camera. That's great for fault finding on systems, and then when we're doing things like power flushing, Magnacleanse, you can look at your radiator and see the heat pattern on the radiator to check if you've got any blockages. So we'll have a look at that. I'll show you, I'll demo it on a radiator for you. The other good thing is great for fault finding. So let's say this boiler had an issue where there was no heating. I could call for demand. If the boiler fires up and then overheats, or there's something wrong where the radiators aren't getting warm, I can check this with my thermal imaging camera, and I'll show you in a minute on this. But if we were expecting heat to come down the flow with the heating on and it didn't, this would show this pipe would stay cold. And then, for example, say it's a faulty diverter valve and it's sending the heat for the radiators to the hot tap. This pipe would then get hot and you would see it on the thermal imaging. Now, you can obviously put your hand on it to check, but sometimes if the customer's been running the boiler all day and everything's already warm, this will tell you precisely what's getting hot. So I'll give you a little demo. I've not run any hot water today, so we will turn the hot tap on and you'll see the difference. Okay, so here's our thermal imaging with the FLIR 1 Pro. You can see here we've got some heat in the heat and flow, and then some in the return there. And then you can really tell on the Magnacleanse, on these rubber hoses, the heat going through them. And then we can also see on the radiator here, it's circulating really well. If there was a cold spot, you would see a sort of section in the middle here would be cooler. And we can see on this side where the TRV is, that's definitely the flow, because this pipe's hotter than the return pipe at the bottom. And you can see on the radiator the actual heat coming up and then distributing across the radiator from there. So if you have got a trouble radiator, these are great. Also, if you want to find out pipes in walls and things, these pipes are exposed, but if they were behind the wall, you would know that they were there behind. And we can probably see through the boxing in there. You can just make out where the flow and return are. I don't think it will work through the ceiling. Oh yeah, you can see a bit through the ceiling. That might be some of the heat. That's basically how your flow works. In the middle you can see the crosshair there. If you point that, it's quite tricky to to balance it, but you can see there on, if we get it right on our hose, the temperature will go up to 50 odd. So that's basically how your FLIR works. So we'll use it now. So we can see the central heating flow at the bottom here, and then we've got the domestic hot water pipe here. Now if you watch that when I open the tap, you can see straight away there the heat comes through that domestic hot water pipe. And the temperature should increase. And you can see there the cold has got colder because it's drawing fresh cold water in. So it's another way of using your FLIR to see what pipes are carrying what and the operation of the boiler, especially if you're fault finding. The Magnacleanse is all set up now, so it's formed part of our heating circuit. So now any water in the system, before it gets back to the boiler, will go through these magnets. What I like to do is, starting from the bottom and working my way to the top, I'll isolate all the other radiators in the house and I'll work on one radiator at a time. So say we'll start with this one, and I'll make sure that one gets hot all the way through. So that means that that radiator is the only thing going through these magnets. Clean that one out. When that one's done, I'll shut that off and move on to the next one, and I'll do that all the way around the house. And Magnacleanse, you can do it in less than 2 hours. Depends how many rads you've got on the system, obviously, but allow about 2 hours and you can go from radiator to radiator, giving them each individual treatment through the magnets. The other thing you can do is, if you've got a really big radiator or one that's struggling to circulate, you get this, it's called a Vibraclean. And it's an SDS attachment. I'll show you there, made by Adey. Now a lot of people break these. I don't know how, because I've had this since I bought my Magnacleanse, about 5 years at least. The way this works is, you just get your SDS drill. It's got to have a hammer action on it, you don't drill with it. So that just pops into there. Set your drill to hammer. And then you move this across the radiator at the bottom, and it agitates and gets all that sludge that's stuck, clinging on at the bottom of the radiator, up free into the water, which then goes through the magnets and collects in the magnets. So I've set up for one radiator in the hall. We're going to have a look at that using this and show you the performance. Using this radiator as an example, we've just turned the TRV on to let the heat through. I'll show you, using the FLIR One thermal imaging camera, the distribution of the heat, and then if you have any cold spots, so let's say this bit in the middle shows up as not being as hot as the rest of the radiator, we know there's some kind of circulation fault. So that's when we get our Vibraclean SDS attachment into a hammer drill, make sure it's on hammer, and then all you do is move it along the bottom of the radiator, push it on, and that vibrates the radiator, frees up all the crap that's maybe stuck in the bottom, puts it into the system water, which then goes off through the return, through those two magnets on the Magnacleanse, just to help clean the system up. So the FLIR One, I find this really a useful bit of kit. It's helped me out on a lot of jobs, but there are downs, as to everything there's downsides. So the main issue with this is you have to charge it. It doesn't use the battery from your phone, so once it's plugged into your phone, it will use the battery up and then you have to recharge it. Now you do get, in this little case, you get a charge cable, but it's just remembering to charge it up. And if you are filming a lot of stuff, maybe your phone battery's low, the battery's low on this, it can interrupt you having to charge it. And also if it uses this Apple, are these called FLIR mini USB charging points. I can never get my phone to charge, so sometimes I can't get the phone to even recognise this is in. That's not the fault of this, that's Apple's shitty design. But yeah, great bit of kit, quite expensive. I reckon about 350 quid for this. But if you're going to be using it a lot, it will pay for itself because it will get you out of the shit sometimes. Try and find those tricky blockages. So yeah, that's the FLIR 1 Pro for Apple. Okay, so this has been on a little while now. So I've turned the heating off, and then we can isolate the Magnacleanse, and then you just have to vent it because it will be under pressure. See there. And it will be hot. Just that extra. Okay, so once you're happy you've took the pressure off, you can undo the magnets, and it will just show you what has been in the system, if anything. I'm not expecting much on this one. So, there's a little bit. It's been on for a couple of hours now. I've done each radiator. It's not that much, but you can see there all this that would be stuck in the radiators and getting into our nice new boiler has now collected on the magnets. So we can show the customer, show them the job we've done, say look, this is why we needed to do this. This stuff would have got in your boiler and caused you issues further down the line. We can also, when we're finished, add some inhibitor to the system, which will dose through our Micro 2 here. We'll just dose it in there once we've connected that back up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just have to drain this down now and clean these magnets up before we put it away. If anyone's interested, my radiator keys have got my details on, phone number, website and my logo. You can get these made. A guy called Paul Peasley, find him on Instagram or Facebook. He makes these, pretty cool. I give them out to customers when I do new boiler installs, so they've got my details to hand if they need me. Okay, so when we're done, Micro goes back on and then we can dose our inhibitor. Now the important thing on a Micro is you can't fit a whole bottle of inhibitor in, so you just got to fill it. See there, gone to about there, because when we put the magnet in, the level will raise and we don't want to spill any over the edge. I think I've gauged that just about right. There we go, see we're losing a bit there.